Hey, what's up, nerds? My name is Bubba Stallcup, and you are watching the Beard Bros Game Show. And joining with me is just myself and all of you guys. Over here is our card cam standing in for Matt again. We are having a summer where we're either on or we're off, and I'm gonna be gone again next week, but Matt is gone this week at Origins, which is a huge tabletop convention. And if you guys are there, make sure that you find him. He's there with Chris Gwaltney, our CEO, and he's also there with Drew, our chief content nerd. So make sure that you find those guys there. They've got the Love Thy Nerd shirts on. I'm not wearing my Love Thy Nerd shirt. I'm wearing my Power Up shirt because we just got done doing VBS. We just finished earlier this afternoon. So coming from that, straight into Beard Bros, because we want to make sure that we get you guys the content that you've come to know and love from us here at Love Thy Nerd. But if you're at Origins, find Matt, find Chris, find Drew. They're probably together wearing the Love Thy Nerd shirts, and get a lanyard from them. They might even have some buttons. I don't know exactly what they took, but get some swag from those guys. Also, you're going to want to visit our company here that we're highlighting with Lanterns Dice. We've got Foxtrot Games and Renegade Studios that have produced Lanterns Dice. And so you're going to want to visit Renegade, which has a booth at Origins, booth number 713 in the Expo Hall. So go by, tell them that Love Thy Nerd sent you and you saw it here on the Beard Bros Game Show, and that you want a copy of Lanterns Dice, because I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to want a copy of this game. If you love roll and writes or even like them at all, this is a wonderful evolution of the roll and write. So before we get too far into it, I want to let you guys know that we're part of a network, that it's not just the Beard Bros Game Show here at Love Thy Nerd. We've also got podcasts, one of which just dropped today with free play. You can check it out in your favorite podcasting app. Just search Love Thy Nerd and it should come up. We've also got a video game in-depth look podcast called Humans of Gaming, where Chris and Drew, two of the guys that are at Origins, they interview people in the industry and ask them why they do what they do. And this episode is about Chris, because technically Chris is in the industry with what we do, and they talk a little bit about what drives Chris to do what we do here at LTN. Also, we have a comic book podcast with Chris P. and Hector called The Pull List, and they do all sorts of great stuff there, where they're talking about all the nerdy things, catching you up on all the stuff that's going on with major and minor comic book publishers, and they have insight onto what's going on in the industry. So if you are interested in any of those things, just go check us out. And you can find all those things on our website as well, lovethynerd.com. Great articles, a lot of wonderful content out there, thoughtful content that we put together for you to be able to love and serve your nerdy neighbors, just like we do here at Love Thy Nerd. So today, enough of that, bills are paid. Today we are playing and talking about Lanterns Dice. So if Lanterns sounds familiar to you, it's because it's already been a game. Like this game here, Lanterns, the Harvest Festival. This is a great tile laying game. It's fantastic in that it's a 4-player max game, 2 to 4 player, where you are trying to collect and have the most honor. That transfers over into this game, but you'll lay a tile and turn it, and there are different colors on each corner. And you get bonuses based on who gets what and all sorts of stuff. I'll leave you to figure this game out on your own, because that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Lanterns Dice. But I want you to know that Lanterns Dice is a true adaptation of this tile-laying game by Renegade and Foxtrot Games. It's a true one-to-one almost, with what you would need to do to change it to be a roll and write. So if you haven't played Lanterns, go pick it up. This game is dope. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this one over here, Lanterns Dice. It's actually Lights in the Sky. So what you're going to want to do is pick this game up right now. Go to Amazon and get it. Roll and Writes are absolutely hot. I set Matt up with an opportunity to play a brand new roll and write coming to Kickstarter in the future today at Origins. So they're not slowing down. Some people have said that they feel like roll and writes are kind of replacing, or they're the next phase in the evolution of board games, kind of replacing legacy games. I don't know that I would say that so much. But what I will say is that I think that roll and writes are only going to continue to get better, and they're going to be more frequent. So if you haven't played like Railroad Inc., oh, so good, go play that. Or Welcome to, another fantastic, not necessarily roll and write, but it's a flip and write where you're using cards instead of dice. Some of these games you can play with unlimited people. When we talked about Railroad Inc. and also with Welcome to, we talked about how you could play it like bingo, where you could have just a hall full of people playing this game. Not so with Lanterns Dice. This is a more controlled environment where it's a 2 to 4 player game. And it's important that you kind of stay within that. You don't try and break out of it, because we'll talk about why. But there is a huge mechanic in it, much like the turning of the tile. Tiles only have 4 corners. There are actually 4 dice in this game, and each one has a different thing that can show its face. And then you can point that at a different character. And we'll go over that here in just a second. But it is a 2 to 4 player game that I've just had an absolute blast playing. I kind of won on accident the last time we played it, and I'm okay with that, because a W is a W, and BG Stats doesn't care how you got there, just that you did. So let's look at some of the components, because we're actually not going to be playing today. If you want to see us play it, my wife and I, Anna, are going to be playing tomorrow on the co-optional Saturday stream. So tune in tomorrow for your opportunity to win a copy of Lanterns Dice by liking us, Love Thy Nerd, on Facebook, liking Foxtrot Games and Renegade Studios, and also by sharing the stream tomorrow. So do us a favor. All that stuff will be in the description tomorrow on our stream. But today we're going to be talking about the components and kind of what the game is and how it actually plays. So let's dive right into it. I'm going to switch over to the card cam because I've got to go over there because it's kind of a roll and write. So what you're going to see here is there are 3 different things that you're going to be doing. 4 different things that you're going to be doing on your turn sequence. We'll come back to these in just a second. What you're going to do is you're going to roll the dice and orient the tray. And then you're going to shade in lanterns. And then you're going to perform 1 Emperor action. And at the end, you're going to launch 1 fireworks tile if you're able. So let's look here. Roll dice and orient tray. Well, what does that mean? This is one of the coolest features, I think, is that you can't really see this, but this tray is, I'm going to see if I can tilt it for you. This tray is it's concave, okay? So it funnels the dice into the middle of it. So when you roll the dice, each one has a different color, just like you'd have a D6, whatever. Take them, you roll them, and they say, the rule book says to shake it if they don't sit right. And then each person is going to be sitting at a different part of the table. And what you do is you take and you turn the dice towards who you want to have what color. So let's say you wanted purple and I wanted to give Anna red. If she's sitting to my left, I would orient it like that. And if I wanted her to have blue, I would do that. So this is step 1, and this is really kind of the bread and butter of this game. It's super important that you pay attention while you're playing, little pro tip, to what everybody else is getting as well. Because I could be giving Anna with that blue, I could be giving her a potential firework in her stage 4 of my turn, which I don't necessarily want to do. But this is step 1. Step 1 is roll and orient the tray. Step 2 is shade lanterns. And I'm going to show you here. These are the player boards. I actually have 4 different player boards, and I say different because even though they're paper player boards like you would normally have for any other roll and write, there are different. You see this says A, B, C, and D. Each one has a different turn bonus. So when I'm shading my lanterns, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take in whatever one I had that was matching my die. Let's say I had that red one. I would take and I would find a red one here. We'll do this guy. And then I would shade it in. Okay? Now I can also, on turn 1, I have a bonus. So I can shade in another red one of my choosing anywhere on the board. And to do so, I go and find the one I want and shade it in. So now I get to shade in 2, and everybody else only gets to shade in 1. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to mark off my turn 1 bonus. So this is kind of like a turn tracker for us. In a 2 to 4 player game, you're only going to play 6 turns. In a 3-player game, you're going to play 8 turns. And in a 2-player game, I'm sorry, 3 to 4. In a 2-player game, you're going to play all 10 turns. So you would think, oh man, we're only playing 6 turns in a 3 to 4 player game. Well, don't worry about that. That game is going to be plenty long. Just you're going to be fine. So I'm going to deal with only one of these for now. So what we've got here is, me shading stuff in and going. So you see that I shaded one of these in. Well, what that is that's one of the features, and it's called a pavilion. And I'm going to bring up this little card right next to us so you can see what I'm talking about here. So this pavilion, what it's going to do is any tile with a yellow circle on it, just think of it like money, because that's basically what it is your currency. Any tile that you shade that has a pavilion in the middle of it, you're going to come down here and you're going to fill in one of your circles. So I would have filled in one for doing this. And if I do this orange one, then I'll get another one. The other features that we have are platforms. Okay, so you can complete a pool, which is what these are called. These are pools. Anywhere where there's 2, cut diagonally like that, that's a pool. So complete a pool with a platform shade one area in an adjacent pool. So if I ever say do this and shade both of those in, then I now have the opportunity to shade either of these, either of those, and either of these. And you kind of want to maximize as best you can, because let's say I did, for instance, finish this one out. It would be advantageous for me to do one of 2 things. To probably come up here and shade either this green or this blue, because that would give me, another one of these. Or come over here and shade this orange or this blue. The reason that's important is because of the next feature we have, boat. So you see that there are 4 adjacent tiles here that are shaded in completely with the boat in the middle. This is a little bit misleading because it's not it's not what it looks like. The size of these boats are off. So this is actually, there are 2 different colors right there in the corner that you can't see that the boat's on. So what you want to do with boats is keep the tile that it's on, the pool, you want to keep all of that unshaded and shade the ones around it. So if ever I were to shade in all of these, like that. So now I have all 4 pools that are adjacent to it covered. What I can do is that'll automatically score me 4 points. So we're actually not going to count that. You can see down here that counts at the end. But there are a lot of different strategies that you can take. And that's, you really want to pay attention big time. We found this out the hard way. You're probably going to get to about turn 3-ish, maybe, depending on how many people you're playing with, before you fully understand what it is that you're doing in this game. And that's okay. There's a bit of a learning curve, but I promise that once this game starts cooking, it is just the most fun, because it really hits on the strategy that this game offers, and also it gives you a little bit of a competitive edge if you know what you're doing, because you can take with how you roll your dice and what you give to people, and where you have your bonuses and what you're shading. Like, there's a lot of strategery to it. But, and I said strategery on purpose, I promise I did. But if you want to play competitively, you can keep the people next to you or across the table, or however, your opponents, you can keep them from finishing things that would give them more points. Or you can give them one that they just can't shade in. Maybe they don't have any more red left on the board to color, or they have to put one way off in the corner or something. You can think about that. And you also have to be looking at their turn bonuses as well. So you not only have to track your own, but you have to track theirs as well. And like I said, the turn bonuses are different based on the different player boards. So that's shading lanterns, step 2. So step 3 is perform an Emperor action. And these are Emperor actions. Okay, there's an A side and a B side, and then there are 3 of them that you're going to put out. This one says shade 1 additional area matching your die. So if mine was, what do we say it was, the red, then what I would get to do is if I wanted to, this costs 1 honor, one pavilion, 1 coin, whatever it is. It costs 1 of those to use. So I would come over here, and I would exit out, and then I would come and shade in another red. Now these roll and writes are built, like designed around the honor system. Not honor as in like final scoring points, but if you shade something in, we are trusting that you're going to mark off what you need in order to do that. And we're going to trust that you're keeping track here on the scorecards and with all the gifts that you have and all that stuff. If you don't do that properly, you're only cheating yourself. If we get over here and everybody else has 72 points and you've got 395, like somebody's going to know that something's up. So don't forget, in gaming, there is integrity. Don't cheat. Don't be that guy. Just keep track of your stuff. It's super important. But you're going to perform an Emperor action, just one, a single Emperor action. And then there's one that costs 1, another costs 2, and another costs 3 gifts. So you're going to decide what it is that you're going to do. Once you've done that, everybody gets to do this on their turn. Then everybody, starting with the first player is denoted by right here, whoever has the A, there's A, B, C, and D. First player gets to launch a firework title if they can. So what is a firework title? I am so glad that you asked. These are firework tiles. This isn't all of them, but it's some of them. And what this is these are what are going to give you points. This thing is worth 6, but in order to place it, I have to have shaded, completed pools that match this shape in any orientation. So, let's say on my turn, I finish that green, and if I'm able, and if it's still available, I can take this and place it right there over that shaded area. And now, that's going to score me 2 points at the end of the game. So this is basic. This is how you're going to be this is the end goal that you're moving towards with this game. You want to try and shade them in so that you can create these shapes and then pick them up. Much like in lanterns, there's a varying number of these at different point values. So this one might be 5, the next one might be 4, and the one below it might be 3. If I grab the 5, then you no longer have access to the 5. So sorry about your bad luck, friend. But you're going to want to, again, use strategy to get them the quickest. Because then what you're going to do is you're going to add that down here. These are the different shapes, the fireworks that you've made. Question mark just means like how many points total do you have. So if I had both of these, I would have 11 points. I would mark down 11 on my player board and then move over to this next section. So what this is it's saying you have 2 different clumps. This is the biggest clump. Like what are the most pools that you have that are touching? And so I would come over and say 1, 2, 3. That's 3. There's 1 over here, 1 over here. These aren't touching. So if I were to end my score like this, end the game like this, 3 would be my largest clump, and 2 would be my second largest clump. I'm sorry, 1 rather, would be my second largest clump. And that's what it wants me to add. So I would then put that on my player board. And now it wants to say, how many boats do you have? How many of these have you completed? And we did 1 here in our little example. So I would do that and say 4. Now, I like to write 4 in there just to tell me, like I'll do the math in my head. If I did 2, then that would be 8. I'll put it here because I'm just going to add across. So 11, 12, 30, 14, 15, 16. 16 would be my final score here. And then we would go and we would put that up against our other players. And really, guys, that's it. That's Lanterns Dice. There's not a whole lot else to the game. It's just you roll the dice. Step 1, roll the dice, orient the tray. Step 2, shade your lanterns and do your bonus action, your turn bonus. And then you're going to spend your gifts to do extra actions if you want to. Got to be strategic with those as well. And then you're going to launch firework tiles. And at the end of the game, something really cool happens that you don't actually roll the dice. Everybody just gets to take another action. So if you need to get another firework or whatever, you're able to score that at the end. So it's fun. It's interesting to watch people pick up games and start to really truly understand what's going on in that game. And that's actually one of my favorite things about playing games with new people is the moment that they start to get it and understand, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Because they end up wanting to play longer or they want to play again. Now with this one, the box says 30 to 45 minutes. It took us almost an hour and 25 to play our 4-player game. And that's okay. We were learning the game. I'm sure after we get into it, people understanding the rhythm, not really trying to micromanage their strategy, not trying to maximize too much. Because this game really can lend itself to analysis paralysis. But when you do finally get into the flow of the game, it's just going to cook. It's going to go fast. Our last 3 turns were pretty quick. We were able to do that with kids running around and all sorts of stuff because we understood the goal we were trying to get to, how fast it was going to take to get there, and if we needed to cut some corners or to drop that altogether and move to something else. We figured that out about, like I said, turn 3 of our 6-turn game. So I would say, I'm sorry, our 7-turn game. I would say that if you are interested in some like entry level, easy to learn, low player count games, I would say Lanterns is probably a good start for you. It's not as heavy as like Pandemic. And also it's a good companion to the base game, Lanterns, the Harvest Festival. But I like a good dice roller. I love the chaos that the dice add to gameplay, that no matter how good I am, I'm always at the mercy of the dice. And I think it adds a nice element to it. That's why I love games like Dice Throne and really, truly other roll and rights and flipping rights. Like, it's out of my control. I have to do the best with what I'm given. So games like that are really fun to me. And if you like this, please do us a favor and go and tell Renegade Game Studios on Facebook and also Foxtrot Games on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all over the place that Love Thy Nerd, the Beard Bros game show, told you about Lanterns and Lanterns Dice, and that you're interested and you want to know more, and meet them at a show, or send them an email, or go to your friendly local game store and either pick up a copy or sit down and play with somebody who has it. A lot of local game stores have games that you can just go and play. So, guys, that really is about it for Lanterns Dice. For us, this is great. I love this game. This gets 2 thumbs, 11,000 hearts away up from the Love Thy Nerd crew, and especially the Beard Bros game show. And on behalf of myself and Matt, I already talked to him. He's at Oranges. He's at Origins. He's probably going to pick this game up while he's there, because they can stream this game, and it's going to create a lot of excitement. And also, you could play at home over the internet if you wanted to, just by watching the stream. So I think that's going to do it for us here at the Beard Bros Game Show. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow night at about 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central, for us playing this game on the co-optional stream. My wife and I, Anna, we're going to play a 2-player game. We've not played at that low a player count, so I'm kind of excited to see how that goes. But we're going to be doing a Facebook premiere of that video, which means that we will record it later on tonight, and then we'll post it as a premiere video, and we will be there in the comments as we are all watching live. So be sure to follow us, Love Thy Nerd, here on Facebook, and also go and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, all the socials, at Love Thy Nerd. And don't forget, come back tomorrow for your chance to win a copy of this game Lanterns Dice. So once again, guys, if you are at Origins, go and find Renegade Game Studios at booth 713. Tell them hey for us and that we sent you. And we will see you hopefully tomorrow night on our co-optional stream. And remember, nobody else tells you this today, that Jesus loves you, nerds.